Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. The ground ball, Russell, the flip, Zobrist the turn. Here you go. Double play. No hitting the Reds through 6.
Yes, he did.
I think he did. He did. Call made at first. Greg Gibson rings him up. Arrieta through 7 has now allowed a hit. Swing and a miss. 3 outs away. And he might have some Reds fans in the ballpark on his side at this point. Here comes the 2-2. In the air, this should do it. Jason Hayward makes a catch. It's a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has done it again.
That was fun.
Wow, what a night to be a Cubs fan and to be Jake Arrieta and his teammates. 16, 18, and 0. Blows out 0-0-1. You watch history here on Comcast Sportsnet at CSN Plus as Jake Arrieta spins his second career no-hitter. Chris Bryant, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Cubs play long ball early and often and blow out the Reds to get to 12-4. Here's what it sounded like in Cincinnati.
This should do it. And Jake Arrieta has no-hit the Reds on this April 21st, 2016.
That was the voice of Tom Brenneman, son of the Hall of Famer Marty Brenneman. They worked together on the broadcast, and that was the first time in over 7,000 regular season games that the Reds have been no-hit. Cap and Holly with you. We'll be with you for quite a while. Hello, welcome into Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. What a night. Jake was a little, as he put it, his quote, I was sloppy with my bullpen and in the game, but late he started dotting the fastball, and you could tell he was locked in late.
It was pretty interesting because of the way that this game played itself out with all of that offense early in the ball game and then his pitch count. That was something that I think many of us were keeping our eyes on. He was at 82 pitches, 6th, 7th inning, 94 after 7, and we're thinking, okay, this game is in tow. You've got it. They piled on the runs. This game is in complete control. How is it going to go forward? Right in those middle innings, I want to say 6th, 7th, and 8th, you saw a lot more fastball aggressiveness from Jake, really attacking the strike zone. Talked about being off early. You're absolutely right. Just off the corners, but I'll use effectively wild. That's what I saw from him. I mean, we didn't have back-to-back runners. This wasn't a situation where he walked 2 or 3 guys in a row and got away from it. He was getting back dialed in right away. That fastball was absolutely outstanding tonight. So much movement on that pitch. Able to expand right there at the end of the ballgame, kind of open up a little bit more, only because he was able to control that pitch count and get it back in check. So he enters the 9th inning at only 103 pitches. So great job by Jake. Certainly understood the moment. In those last 4 innings, he was pitching for the no-hitter. I mean, we understand staying focused and everything, but again, this game is in check. And so Jake was literally kind of pitching to the moment and understanding what was going on, as he talked about after the game, looking to be more aggressive and manage that pitch count just a little bit better.
We love Twitter here at the network. Big social media fans. And tonight, it's going to happen. Twitter handle made us chuckle. Take a look. There's Pete. Put it all on the Cubs. Jake Arrieta's pitching. Very funny because it's kind of true. Jake, his usual dominant self.
Well, what is that? Dating back to last year, Cubs have won his last 17 starts. My goodness gracious.
Last time Jake lost was the no-hitter that Cole Hamels spun at Wrigley.
Well, just think about it.
Late July.
Cap, 17 starts is a half season worth of starts. You've got a starter who's basically pitched in a half a season and not lost. His team has not lost that ball game. To Pete's point, that's money in the bank, right? Arrieta gets a little cushion early on. We had that sense that this game was in check early when you had the early offense. But where Jake took it, again, that's what we were waiting on, and gets it done once again. I got to tell you, what impresses me so much with Jake is his tempo, his poise, his composure. Even when he fell behind a few hitters, you didn't see him get rattled. You didn't see him speed up. You didn't see him get out of his game. You actually saw him slow the moment down, take a few deep breaths on the mound, step off occasionally, and gather himself. It's what makes him special. We can sit here and talk about the tilt on all of his pitches. They were working tonight. The slider's one of the best in the game. His fastball moves at 95 and 96 miles an hour. The man made pitches. That's really what it comes down to. The Cincinnati Reds know that there's a no-hitter. You think that pitchers, they're not trying to put together their best at-bats and obviously end this. They don't want to get no hit. So that's what this really all became about. And he got dirtier as this game went on.
He did. He really, you could tell, got locked in, and he was dotting the fastball. He had good, heavy sinking action on the slider, and wow, what a night.
It's incredible, Cap. I mean, like I said, just bringing it all together with the offensive output. I know we're going to do a lot of conversation and have a lot of chatter about Jake's, pitching performance. Great performance with the bat as well tonight. Had a base hit the other way, a base hit up the middle, drew a walk. The boys swung the bats. You had some home runs. It was a bit of a bust-out game. And, when you kind of factor everything that happened yesterday into today, this is impressive stuff. You kind of turn the page on I don't want to call it a bad loss yesterday, but you had that long rain delay. End up losing in St. Louis. You show up in Cincinnati. You played well against them all year. You gear it up, and you come out, and you just make a huge statement right at the front end of a series.
And he was absolutely magnificent late in this ballgame. There you see him with David Ross, and he said, David Ross kept saying to him, thank you, because he's never gotten to catch a no-hitter until tonight. So one of the highlights of his career. Look at him the last 24 starts since June 21, 2015. Every start a quality start.
Is that his whip? Oh, no, that's his earned run average. My bad.
20-1. The only loss, a no-hitter from Cole Hamels. Innings pitched 178, earned run average 0.86.
Look at the last three lines, Cap.
I mean, ridiculous.
Well,
Walks 20-1 and strikeouts 174.
But look at, put it into ratios. I mean, the earned run average is, if we're talking about a guy with a whip of 0.08, 0.86, we're raving about the performance. That's his earned run average. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio in 178 innings. That's insane. That is insane. There aren't the right words. They're not strong enough words to really describe what we're witnessing right now. And it's just the complete and total domination of National League lineups right now. It is to the point where, I talk to people around here in Chicago about Jake, certainly about this team, just about everywhere I go this time of year. You expect it. That's the crazy thing. I have never, in all my years, I've been around this game for almost 20 years now, to the point where I've seen a pitcher where the expectations are, Arrieta's going tonight, money in the bank.
This is all 27 outs from tonight's ball game that you're watching, as we're also showing you some of the particulars from the game. 15th no-hitter in Cubs history, first in back-to-back seasons, 20-1 his last 24 starts. Just ridiculous. 24 straight quality starts. It is an unbelievable stat line to look at.
Well, and again, you saw a couple of plays right there. The Bryant play down the third baseline was an outstanding play. Got the ball across the diamond quick. Two-hopper, got Cozart right there. Anthony Rizzo followed that up with a stop in the hole. But again, Cap, you know me. I constantly talk about bad contact, and you saw a lot of it tonight. This was not 5 or 6 line drives that, we've got outfielders running balls down at the wall. Even some of the big swings that you saw from Reds hitters were cans of corn in the outfield. There wasn't a whole lot of effort there. It was as long as those outfielders got good jumps and got themselves into position to make routine catches. We had a couple of nice plays defensively in the infield to go along with it. But it really is, just talking about Jake and his ability to completely dominate lineups right now. I'm almost convinced that, that wipeout slider, you could have taken that out of the equation tonight. With his fastball alone, I feel like it would have been an incredible performance almost either anyway.
Yeah, it's just amazing to watch what he was doing and how he got locked in, and with such a big lead, you could tell, okay, we're not going to lose the baseball game was his mindset. Now I got to go out and finish.
Well, and that was the challenge in this one. It really is, because, typically, you have a game, maybe it's 4-0 or 3-0. You're still talking about margin of error. Don't want to create a big inning, and you going out there and making
You're
pitches.
Still trying to win the game.
Right. The motive, really did change, and I'm sure Jake was aware of it, yet it didn't rattle him. It didn't get him out of his game. You didn't see him when that pitch count was just hinting at maybe getting a little too high, getting crazy. That's what was so impressive about this.
Check out this full screen. Here are the last 5 pitchers to throw no-hitters in Cubs history. Jake Arrieta with a couple of them. You see Carlos Zambrano, the late Milt Pappas, Bert Hooton, and Kenny Holtzman. And this is the way it sounded on Cubs radio tonight.
2-2 on Suarez. Arrieta has not given up a hit all night. He is ready. And the 2-2. A fly ball. Shallow right. Playable. Zobrist is there. Coming in is Hayward. No hitter for Arrieta. Jake Arrieta pitches a no-hitter here at the Great American Ballpark. It was a pop-up into shallow right. Zobrist was calling. Hayward came in, called him off. Jason Hayward made the catch on the routine fly ball.
Now here's no-hitters versus the Reds since 1900. You got to go back to 1971. The Halladay no-hitter was in the postseason. Right. So to go from tonight back to 6/23/71 when Rick Wise of the Phillies threw a regular season no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds.
Did you see that one in 07?
The 1-0, oh, very funny guy. You're hilarious. I was looking for 2007. Yeah, you actually got a hit off Frank Peffer or whatever his name
maybe
is.
it's a possibility. But, again, just kind of adding to the Jake Arrieta conversation. You saw in that highlight where we showed you every out, his ability to exploit every phase of the strike zone. Even the elites in the game of baseball today have their spot where they're looking to get to. Typically, it's low and away. I think what you saw with Jake, even late, knowing that he was going to use a few more fastballs, the ability to exploit the top of the strike zone. 93, 94 was probably fatiguing just a little bit as he kind of got through this. Now, again, not a lot of pressure on this game other than the no-hitter stuff. I mean, this wasn't in-game pressure like winning and losing. But his ability to exploit the top of the strike zone.
Well, the Dodger no-hitter was a 2-0 game.
Right. So that's a different type of pressure.
Right. I give up a hit and I give up a long ball and the game's tied.
Yeah, there's different things going on in that game. And in this one, this was really about it. But what was so impressive to me, and continues to be, in talking about how Jake attacks the strike zone and watching the frustration in not just Reds hitters, but really all hitters in baseball who go up against him, is he can expose any part of the strike zone. Again, it's, you think back to Greg Maddux, talking about him. I played with him. I played against him. And he was one of the best ever, as we all know, the Hall of Famer. Low and away was his spot. He'd love to go in low and in, throw that little cutter, little slider occasionally. He did not live up in the zone. It was not where he wanted to be. Jake can do this. He can get hitters out, as we saw in that 8th and 9th inning right there.
All right, let's go to, courtesy of Fox Sports Ohio, here's Brian Price, the Reds manager, talking about tonight's no-hitter.
A week ago, he pitched so well against his team, and today he didn't. What was the difference you see?
Just, you could see it. They hit a lot of balls right on the screws today against everybody that was out there, pretty much. And it really does come down to pitch execution. It wasn't like he was centering a lot of pitches in Chicago and they were just missing them. He really had a nice mix of pitches. A lot of his fastballs were running off the plate to the right-handers, and just wasn't as sharp. I thought the stuff was fine. It just wasn't as good in the zone, and they took advantage of the mistakes. They were on him a little bit from the get-go. They've taken a very aggressive approach both starts, but this time they got some pitches early in the count they're able to do some things with, and jump on a lead with a good starter, going for the Cubs, and we just got behind the 8 ball.
Arrieta's on an incredible run right now, and came in here and he got the lead early, and he never looked back, did he?
No, and it looked like after 5 innings he wouldn't have enough pitches to throw a complete game. He's just over 50 balls and strikes, and then those last 4 innings he just was in the zone a lot more early. We had made a lot more early in the count outs, and he got himself into that 9th inning with less than 100 pitches. Gave himself a chance to finish the no-hitter.
What is the feeling, Brian? I know it's just one game, but when you get no hit in this kind of a game, just what's the feeling inside the clubhouse?
Well, you tell me what you're feeling. If you're a Reds fan, if anybody's a Reds fan, you probably don't have the same feeling exactly, but it's miserable. It's miserable. Guys will tell you the same. I mean, nobody wants to be as good as Arrieta was tonight. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. Nobody wants to be no hit. Nobody wants to be a part of giving up 16 runs. I mean, it was, just wasn't a game that anybody's going to look back on and say that there was any redeeming values or qualities, or that anything positive came out of that ball game for our club, other than hoping to forget it as soon as possible, or maybe more importantly, remember it and use it as a motivating force, because there just wasn't anything good to pull out of that game.
All right, there's Brian Price. And like the guy said, well, what's everyone thinking in there? He's like, well, what are you thinking? He did not like that question, and I don't blame him. The Dodgers, who Arrieta no-hit last year, 2-0. Here's what they just tweeted. Hey, at Reds, Arrieta no-hitter support group meets on Monday. That is a class tweet. Yeah, outstanding.
Very, very good.
Loved it. Yeah, loved what they did. And Joe Madden now meeting the media. Take a listen.
He actually had that conversation in spring training, not this year but last year, about if these guys get to the point of attempting to throw a no-hitter, the pitch count goes out the door. So we had already established that rule. I was just concerned. I think he had 85 after 6. I was really counting the pitches at that point, especially in a lopsided game like that, scoring-wise. However, you never want to interfere with somebody's greatness, and that's really special for him and for the organization to have another no-hitter being thrown. So as a manager, you try to stay out of the way of those moments. He didn't have his best command early in the game. He had great stuff. The command wasn't there. That's why the pitch count was so high. Normally, he's able to pound the zone more frequently and would have been able to complete that with less pitches. So that was part of the issue. However, stuff was fabulous. I mean, Ross even came back and said it's moving all over the place. It's just not where he wants it to be yet. So give him credit, man. And game over, the first thing I wanted to let him know was nice job of hitting.
Yeah, you put in Caesar for defensive purposes in the 7th. When did it start to really cross your mind that this could happen again?
Yeah, about, you actually at that 85 pitch mark, whenever that was after 6, right? We talked about, was that after 6? I was right about that. Yeah, so I was counting the pitches pretty well, and so it's pretty viable at that particular juncture. That we got to get through that thicker part of the batting order. Not like the other guys aren't, good major league players. But I'm just saying we had to get through Votto and Phillips and Bruce, etc. And then it becomes more likely. Then he's got some righties towards the bottom. So I mean, with that, of course, the other part was do you hold people back in case there is a hit, so you get people off their feet. That was also something that I thought about too. But once Soler got the at bat, then it was like a perfect time to make the switch.
Do you see him lock in after 6? Because it only took 9 pitches in the 7th, 9 pitches in the 8th. He got better.
Yeah, no, he did. His command got better, game in progress. Like I said, I thought early on he was really fighting it. He was actually better out of the stretch than out of the windup, had more consistent delivery, and knew where the ball was going better. But then he kind of corrected it. I thought the latter part of the game it was better. The last inning, he just over-boogied a little bit with the guy that he walked. But overall, man, he primarily fastball. Slider was really good, as it normally is. Threw a couple of hooks. I think he struck out Bruce on a really good changeup. That was a nice pitch because he was not expecting it. Can I say, man? I mean, it was spectacular. And then, I hate to switch gears, but the offense was pretty good today too. I mean, it was. That's something everybody's talked about our offense, but if you look up at the board, the batting averages were relatively low. But we keep talking about the quality of the at bat. Eventually, it's going to, we're going to be able to start hitting the ball like we're capable of. I mean, Addison Russell might have had the best night of all. He had nothing to show for with all the line drives that he hit that were caught. And then beyond that, I just want to make mention David Ross. Catching a no-hitter. You talk about pitching a no-hitter. Catching a no-hitter is very special too. And that's something he's going to be able to carry with him. He does a wonderful job. He had a great day at the plate. On top of that, did I read that it was his first no-hitter that he's caught? So that's really, that's just because this guy is always given to the pitchers and everybody else, every team he's played on. He's so good back there, so I'm really happy for him too. Go here.
You've said he's a little different than most in the dugout. You can talk to him, obviously.
Jake?
Yeah, Jake. No-hitters are a little different. But what was he like? What was the...
Normal. I mean, he had so many at-bats, he kept coming back, and I was just talking to him, early on in the game. I said, go ahead and swing. I want you to swing early in the game. Latter part of the game, once we had the lead, he just went up there and took his at-bats. Kept giving him the fist pump coming off the field like we normally did. I didn't want to change any of that, but there was really nothing to say. I wasn't going to ask him how you feeling. You think you can do this, all that kind of I just let it ride and watched it very closely. I didn't get anybody warmed up. Didn't want to throw that negative vibe out there. And if the hit had been gotten, but attempted to delay as much as I could to get somebody hot as quickly as possible.
All right, there you go. That was Joe Madden, and that was the end of the interview. So I don't know what you think we cut you off there at all. This is pitchers throwing multiple no-nos. 7 of them for Nolan Ryan. That won't be touched. Sandy Koufax has 4. Larry Corcoran has 3. I think Holly played with him. Bob Feller has 3. Cy Young has 3. And Jake Arrieta hits the board now. He's tied with 25 other pitchers with 2 career no-nos.
I got to tell you, you dropped a that's not touchable on Nolan. I mean, he's thrown 2 now in half the season. He's
7 no-hitters is insane.
I'm just saying, Cap. I mean, he's in the prime of his career. I mean,
and I believe Kerry Wood was at the 7th.
I'm just telling you, hey, listen, Jake's got a long way to go. I mean, we're watching him dominate lineups this way. I mean, the numbers back all this up. I mean, I'm not taking anything. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Nolan Ryan. I agree. I mean, 7 is incredible when you describe it. Multiple organizations did it throughout his career. But Jake's picked up 2. I mean, this is a different Jake Arrieta that you saw earlier in his career with the Baltimore Orioles, by the way. The guy that we know is a guy who I think is a walking no-hitter. Remember the story before he threw his first. We watched 4 or 5 different times Jake take the mound, go 5, 6, 7 innings into a ball game with a no-hitter, and then finally got it done last year against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm just saying, I think he's climbing this chart.
We will see. Certainly hope he does. All right, now after the game, Jake Arrieta joined Len and JD. If you missed it, take a listen.
Hey, Jake, it's Len and JD.
What's up, boys?
Oh, I don't know. You tell us.
Man, God, it felt sloppy from the get-go. The pregame pin was as sloppy as it was in L.A. before that no-hitter, so I don't put a lot into it. I came out just trying to mix, was a little off of my command, but was able to, keep him off balance. And later in the game, pound the strike zone with some good movement and keep the ball down. And I don't know how many ground ball outs I had. I knew there was quite a few. So pitching to contact was the goal today, and I did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, and indeed you did. And you've been through this twice now. So tell us about, your experience in the dugout as the game went along versus the one against the Dodgers.
Pretty similar. I was cutting up with some of the guys about my at-bats, keeping it loose, having a good time, and I think that's the smart way to approach it without getting too far away from what your goal is and what the objective is on the mound when you get back out there. So business as usual. Other than Javi was in my spot, I think, before the 8th inning, so I kind of gave him a little hell for that. Told him never to do that again, but. That was a blast. That was fun.
So you throw to Miguel last year in L.A. Now you get David tonight, and that had to feel great. He had a great game, and I said to JD before we had you on, this might be the career highlight for him. Man, he looks like a totally rejuvenated player this year.
That's probably what makes it most special for me, is giving him that in his last season. This is his first one that he's caught. So that's special. We're hugging there at the end. He just kept telling me, thank you. Like, it's just a great way for him to go out. Another box he can check now. And, I think Lackey, too, that's the first one he's seen, the first one he's been a part of, either as the winning team or losing team. So that's special, too. So for the whole group down there, it's a good night.
Clearly you're focusing in the 9th inning, one pitch at a time. The leadoff walk to Schebler. Did you get to the point where you just said, well, I'm not going to give in to these guys at any point? You're trying to make some history here.
Yeah, once I got to the 8th, that was the idea, really trying to, be good on the edges and not really give in and make any mistakes in that part of the game. And it's difficult, too, with the amount of runs we put up. You don't want to pitch, hesitant. You still want to attack the guys and force contact. But in a situation like this, you're a little bit more careful.
All right, can I give you a couple of historical notes? Do you want to know?
Yeah, let me hear it.
All right, it's the 15th no-hitter in Cubs history. It is your second no-hitter in 11 regular season starts, so that's going to make some history. Did you know tonight that is the first time the Cincinnati Reds have been no-hit in the regular season since 1971, 7,110 games ago?
Yeah, I don't know any of that, man. It's neat.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
It is. Baseball history, there's so many things that I've been able to be a part of and to do over these, past, 12 to 15 months. And we're really just trying to enjoy it as much as we can.
Well, go enjoy it with your teammates, Jake. Thanks for the time. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Wow. We've had a lot of fun over the last season or so and into this one.
Right.
There was some rough years, and now the Cubs are having what looks like a renaissance. The team's really coming along. But this is about as much fun, other than dispatching the Cardinals last year in the playoffs, to watch a guy pitch like this.
Well, not just pitch like this. I mean, I'll expand the conversation for the sake of that this is Cubs Postgame Live, and we haven't even talked about the offensive output that we've had in this ball game, from Chris Bryant's 2 homers and the grand slam to David Ross going deep to Ben Zobrist getting his first Cubs home run. So many good things come out of this game tonight. Great to see, obviously, Jake Arrieta get it done. He talked about what he was going into this. I think it's so interesting to sit there and know how that bullpen went and how bullpens go sometimes for guys as they head out there to the mound, and you hear, I was sloppy. I didn't have it. I was searching for it. And he goes out and pitches a no-hitter.
Crazy. All right, time for a break here on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. We come back. David Ross joins the show from the podium. As we go to break, time for our Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Who's hot and who's not so hot? Hot, Brandon Phillips. Not tonight, but a .357 VA with 3 doubles and 2 RBIs the last 7 days before tonight's game. Who's not hot? Eugenio Suarez, a .160 in RBI, and that batting average went down tonight. We will take a timeout. We'll come right back. Kevin Holly with a whole lot more to do on Cubs Postgame Live, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Over.
Cubs Postgame Live is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all.
Something doesn't feel right.
Green lights across the board. What's going on up there?
No backup system, Houston. I'm flying solo here.
Does he have it?
I'm on it. Re-entry in 3, 2, 1.
Thanks for the care package, Houston. Dinner's on me. Just another day in the rocket biz. Oh, fudge nuggets.
I want you to place this award on the podium next to the vehicle that you think was ranked highest in initial quality by J.D. Power.
This is it.
You are wrong. Actually, it's all 3.
You tricked me.
J.D. Power ranked the Malibu, Silverado Half-Ton, and Equinox highest in initial quality in their segments.
That's impressive.
Wow. Chevy hit 3 home runs.
Qualified lessees can get this Chevy Equinox for around $189 a month. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Now it's in the hands of the bullpen, and out comes Papa John.
It looks like he's taking this official pizza thing pretty seriously.
For just $6.99 each, get 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas.
Papa John's, the official pizza of Major League Baseball.
You're not gonna watch it. No, you're not gonna watch it. We can't let you download on the go. You'll just have to miss it.
No thanks, I have X1 from Xfinity, so.
Don't fall for DirecTV. Xfinity lets you download your shows from anywhere. Sign up today or get started with this great offer. Call or go online today.
I used to like that song.
To showcase the impressive Infiniti QX50, we could have imagined it on a winding mountain pass, or somewhere even more cliche, like a downtown street. But what distinguishes the Infiniti QX50 isn't where you can take it, it's how you feel taking it there. With generous cargo space, extended second-row legroom, and coupe-like handling. The QX50 from Infiniti. Lease the all-wheel drive Infiniti QX50 for $339 a month. Visit your Chicagoland Infiniti retailer.
Sports Authority is proud to be the official sporting goods retailer of the Chicago Cubs. To shop online or find a store near you, visit sportsauthority.com.
We are back, and we're introducing the Jumbo Collection of the Illinois Lottery and his family of instant tickets where you can win up to $3 million instantly. Get ready to live large. All right, check out our Sports Authority play of the game.
It's one of those situations where he knows if he just executes that slider or the curveball down the way, he'll probably get the chase.
Here comes the 2-2. In the air, this should do it. Jason Hayward makes it count. It's a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has done it again.
Our UPS store taking care of business. Player of the game, You know who that is. Jake Arrieta with his second career no-no.
Fantastic effort tonight. We talked about the ground balls. We talked about the strikeouts, the ability to command the strike zone, the plays behind him. Let's talk about the joy that this group has playing together. That's the other thing that really does stand out for me. Jake's got a great relationship with his team. I mean, I was saying to you, they've become such a joy. And I hear this from, as I've said many times, guys around the country who I talk to tell me that they've become Cubs fans watching this group play together. They're not an arrogant group. They're not a flashy group. They have fun together. They want to win together. They enjoy playing together. And Jake Arrieta gets that. You see plays like that because you do make plays for your pitcher. It's not just your job, but you're pulling for each other, and you want to see things happen. You know, I was thinking Addison Russell tonight. Joe Madden talked about that a little bit. He had a fantastic game, didn't get any love. I mean, guys pumping him up in the dugout, giving him high fives. Anyway, obviously Arrieta getting this thing done. This is a game that was in complete control. You didn't see a lapse of focus or lack of concentration on defense. Guys were on this, not only because the no-hitter was going, but because, again, this is Jake Arrieta and their teammates, and they got a really good thing going on in this clubhouse.
Yeah, and you hear everyone. I had Anthony Rizzo on my radio show yesterday, and he said, hey, we like each other. We are really happy to be with each other all the time. It's just a great, great group.
Well, it's a formula for success, and I'll tell you, Cap, it's not that winning, winning everybody always gets along. I mean, that's real simple. We've seen the Cubs do that, but let's remember that this has been a process, and a lot of these guys, including Anthony, lived through some of these lean years. Those relationships were developed back when the losing was going on, some of it anyway, and, you just look at what they're becoming. You're absolutely right. You see it on their face. These guys aren't just out there to celebrate themselves. They're out there to celebrate each other, and I tell you, I've always got this sense from the group of them and talking to just about every one of them, the one-upsmanship that they love to have, competing with each other. And I felt like I really saw that tonight. Some of these guys coming around third base, looking into the dugout like, oh, you thought you hit that one out pretty well, Rizzo? Look, how about this grand slam when Chris Bryant was running around third base, little look into the dugout right there. Like, they play off each other, but at the same time, it's not done in a negative way. It's in an incredibly positive way. It's like, whatever you can do, maybe I can do it just a little bit better.
All right, let's hear it from Grandpa Rossi.
I hear the questions you guys ask about this and that. I mean, he's never phased. Close pitches, it doesn't phase him. And it's just a special moment for me to be a part of that.
He walked more tonight than normal. Was he a little off in the beginning?
He was definitely off. I mean, he'd admit that. He was off for the first probably 4 or 5 innings, I think. I think the first inning was pretty solid, and then lost it there 2, 3, 4 maybe, and started to lock it back in 5 and 6. So, and then there at the end, when he's got that fastball command down away, he's pretty tough to hit. He can pretty tough angle coming especially for a right-handed hitter. And great defense by our guys too. I mean, the double play by Addy, that ball looked like a hit off the bat from my perspective. KB had a lot of action down there at third tonight. Riz made a great play in the hole to save it, and then Dex had a lot of balls his way. So when in doubt, put it in play and let him hit it towards. We got pretty good defense out there. Thank you guys so much.
All right, our guy Grandpa Rossi, he's been part of a World Series team. He's been part of some really historic good games.
I played with Rossi.
He never, boy.
You come old now?
Really old. He goes that far back. And he said thank you over and over again to Jake Arrieta because he'd never caught a no-no.
Well, but think about that. And even Jake talked about that. And, I was just talking about this clubhouse. I mean, when you get that sense that it's, more than just guys playing for each other, that it's kind of a family thing, like a big brother, little brother type of relationship. I mean, you just get it. I mean, that's what these guys are all about. I think back to David Ross and Jason Hayward getting him a suite on the road, announces his retirement. Guys, extending themselves in a way like, I want this to be a great last year for David Ross. Now, David Ross gets to do it tonight, but I mean, you heard it from Jake Arrieta, and it wasn't, the question wasn't asked so that he would answer it, leading into David Ross. It was the first thing on his mind. He said, listen, this was a big game, not only for me, I got the no-hitter, but at the same time, David Ross, he's never caught one before. It's big for him, so it's big for me too. That's what really makes this group special. I mean, we're going to talk about them all season long. We're going to talk about a lot of great wins and a lot of offense and a lot of great pitching. There's no doubt about it. But I really do love the way this team is gelling. And you base it on what we saw at the end of last year to what they're bringing into this season. This team is on a mission, Cap.
It's funny, I talked to Joe Girardi one day, this is years ago, and he said, He's been on World Series teams. He's had a lot of fun in the game. He's made a lot of money. But he said the coolest thing he ever did was catch a perfect game.
Right.
And they gave him home plate from that perfect game. And to think how many great games David Ross has been a part of, some of those Red Sox games, and here he gets this really cool moment.
Well, it speaks to the relationship, and it shouldn't get lost in this. You realize that in so many ways, we talk about this all the time. I've said to you for years about Chris Bosio and the influence that he's had over this pitching staff.
Humongous.
Absolutely. And guys, even through some of these thin years, guys who have come in that were down on their luck, who he's transformed and helped find it again. Jake Arrieta being another one of these individuals. I think back to the trade that went down, with the Baltimore Orioles and acquiring Pedro Strop and Jake Arrieta, what their careers have now become. I mean, there's been so many people involved in this process, including David Ross.
All right, we'll be right back. When we come back, Jake Arrieta's at the podium. You will get it right here on Cubs Postgame Live, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Garages have many uses. So use yours in the best way possible with amazing deals on terrific Honda products, like the all-new, more powerful Honda Civic with improved ride and handling, plus a roomier interior. Winner gets to drive.
The Honda Dream Garage sales event is happening now. And you've got a garage to fill.
The Honda Dream Garage sales event is almost over, so don't miss out. Now at your Honda dealer.
Verizon is the #1 network in America. I know you're thinking they all claim stuff like that. Yeah, but some of them stretch the truth a little bit. Like this. Faster, more reliable, and better coverage than ever. And it shows the coverage there. Oh, hold on. Oh, map is not a depiction of coverage. What's the point? I'm speechless.
Only Verizon has the largest 4G LTE network in America. Now get up to $300 with the Verizon trade-in event.
Yeah, I'm married. Does it matter? You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so.
Another reason more people stay with State Farm. Get to a better state.
Your old heating and cooling system is costing you money. Our preseason air conditioner sale is going on now. Get a free in-home estimate plus same-day installation of a new Lennox air conditioner from $24.95. Furnace and AC combos from $36.95. And receive 0% interest financing for 5 years. Plus, we'll beat any competitor's estimate by up to $500. Call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4-SEASONS.
Nissan's family of crossovers with intuitive all-wheel drive. See driving in a more confident light. For a limited time, lease Rogue, just $189 per month, or get 0% financing for up to 36 months. Take on Mother Nature. Shop ChooseNissan.com.
Cubs fans, show your team pride with Cubs checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card available only at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC. A programming reminder, the Jake Arrieta no-hitter will re-air later tonight after Blackhawks postgame live at Sportsnet Central, right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
I mean, I think that's a part of, every starter's or every pitcher's mental makeup at this level is you have to expect, certain things out of yourself. But then at the same time, be realistic in the sense that, the guys on the other side are good too. And every once in a while, you're going to get beat. You're going to have some off nights. But, the preparation is just kind of what allows the success to happen naturally. And even though you can't dictate the results, you can play a big part in the way certain things unfold. And that's why I feel like I have
good chance to win every time I take the mound, and tonight was no different. I came out with some shaky command of pretty much all my pitches, but I was using them nonetheless. And as the game got on, I got a little bit more comfortable. Pitching to contact pretty well. Had quite a few ground ball outs. I don't know how many strikeouts I had. I think it was 4 walks. So the timing was off from start to finish. I was just able to lock it in big situations to force some contact and pile up some outs pretty quickly.
How is it different than last August, going through the whole thing?
Well, it feels different the second time. I was a little more relaxed as the game progressed. And based on the way I threw the ball before the game started, I anticipated having to, grind through some at-bats and some innings, a little bit more than I did, but I was able to get the ball in on the left-handed hitters for some called strikes, and then go below the strike zone when I needed to for some big swings and misses. So, you put it all together, you have conviction in what you're throwing out there, and good things can happen.
Joe said he complimented you on your hitting?
Yeah, well, 2 broken bat singles. First one off Finnegan, his ball gets on you quick. I'm looking to left field, and the ball shot down the right field line, past Votto at first base. So, I was able to steal a couple hits tonight.
And can you talk about Ross? Because apparently this is his first.
Well, and for me, that's why this is so special. Is because in his last year, he's never caught one. I think he's been on a team that was no hit, but wasn't a part of the winning side. So, other than the one last year that Miggy caught. So it's special for me, for not only myself, but for him in his last season, being able to have him with that experience now is pretty awesome.
I know you've rehashed your arc here to this point, but we were just talking earlier. 3 years ago around this time, can you remember what was going on with yourself and now where you're at?
Yeah, I envisioned pitching like this. Even when I had a 5 in Baltimore, I expected to get to this point at some point. Regardless of how long it took or what I had to go through to get there, I expected to, or I had visions or visualizations of throwing no-hitters or throwing shutouts. So,
All right, welcome back to Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Cap and Holly with you. Time for the Honda winning box score. And as Marty Brennaman would say, this one belongs to the Cubs. And just a whole lot of productivity there.
Pick somebody out. Well, let me do this. This might be the right way to do it because Addison Russell really did have an outstanding game. I know we have all these home runs to talk about. Chris Bryant right there turning on a fastball. We got to see it. There was great at-bats from just about everybody in the lineup, including Addison Russell, who unfortunately went 0 for tonight, but had four line drive outs in this ball game. There were honestly 8 in total. I've got them right here in front of me. 8 line drive outs. Great piece of hitting right there by Chris Bryant, cutting that pitch off. So good to see the boys come out swinging the bats today, especially going up against Finnegan, who, by the way, don't forget, right? Finnegan's the guy who had the no-no going against us back when they played the Reds at home a couple Mondays ago. So great approach against him. Came in with a 129 batting average against, and it was just really good to see them come out.
Here's home run number 2. There's Ben Zobrist. He smokes one the other way, and that one's going to get up and get out.
Yeah, great swing right there. Took an elevated fastball away and drove it out away. That's what this ballpark could do. For right-handed hitters, there's a play you can go opposite way right now and get it out at 370. That's how this park is always played. I've seen it many, many times. Great swing right there on an elevated fastball and got on top of it. Real nice.
You hit one out in this ballpark?
Yeah, oh, come on.
Few. Just to watch the way they were approaching the game. Here's Grandpa Rossi going out of the ballpark to dead center, basically right center.
Well, and again, adding on right there, gets a little bit of a slider away, 87 miles an hour, and drives it out to right field. Rossi knows a thing or two about this. You think about David, and if you didn't know his history, came up with the Cincinnati Reds. It's actually where I played with him. I believe had a 20-homer season in Cincinnati, so his career started there. So extra meaning to David Ross's night.
And then Anthony Rizzo turns and burns on one and takes it out. Really did not look like he got a great swing on it. But he got it out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's going on right there. That was Anthony Rizzo's two-strike approach. The pitch before it was a changeup down. He broke down. We used to call it the breakdown. That's what I did. When I would go down to my knee to try and get a changeup out of the dirt. Well, Anthony shortens up, gets another changeup. Why? They threw one prior to 2-2 pitch, two-strike pitch, two-strike swing. Throws the changeup, doesn't get it down far enough, and Anthony gives you that little chop swing that he likes to do, put the ball in play. You see Joey Votto do it. You see Chase Utley do it. He does it a little bit too, drives it out of the yard.
Chris Bryant with the bases loaded, say goodbye. And he didn't get all of it, but he got enough.
Yeah, well, listen, momentum certainly was building, and I think this was, by definition, piling on. Nobody's taking a granny away from anybody here, but that was a center cut 91-mile-an-hour fastball. You see it right there, and Chris Bryant gets fantastic extension, and we know he likes the ball right about there. When he gets liftoff, the ball's leaving the yard.
All right. Now, we didn't have a pregame show tonight, but you always do your keys to the game anyway. Let's take a look at your keys.
Right. Well, it was one key coming into tonight's ballgame, and really the one thing that stood out to me was early count aggressiveness. It wasn't just necessarily jumping on the first pitch. It was just being aggressive against Finnegan because 129 batting average against. That's what we know. And I, again, was playing off of what we saw from him his last start. This kid's got a good arm. He's effectively wild at times, and really, when you look at a batting average against, it's 129. It speaks volumes. That was coming into the ball game tonight. I thought the Cubs would come out and look for fastballs to jump on early in the count. They weren't going to wait around. Now, remember, that's been their approach going up against many starters this year. Let's wear this guy down. Let's get him out of there. They went out with purpose here. I mean, you see this is the second pitch of the at-bat. Fowler jumped all over it. 1-0 count right there. We saw Ben Zobrist do it as well.
That's Bryant.
Well, that's Bryant's. It was a 1-0 pitch. Zobrist, his home run came on a 1-1 pitch. I mean, there's that first time through the lineup, they were looking to make a statement. They were jumping on the first good fastball they saw.
And that one was elevated, and he elevated.
Oh, you don't want to live up there. And nobody can live up there, honestly, other than Jake changing angles and still having tilt up there at the top of the zone. But he can't. Even Jake would tell you, I can't live up there all game long.
All right, let's check out the pitching matchup for tomorrow's Game 2 of this series. John Lester against John Mosket. Lester is pitched really, really well, and Mosket doesn't have a decision. He's appeared in one game. He's got an ERA almost 5.
Listen, this is going to be about John Lester dialing it back in again, kind of getting past the hype of today and getting refocused into going out and getting another win. You have to remember, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to say it again, I'm not sure there's a more complete Cubs win in the history of the Chicago Cubs than what I witnessed tonight. Of course, I haven't been around for all of them, but that was an impressive effort, obviously, from Arrieta and the offense. The offense wants to keep it going. They got a real good opportunity against somebody who has not had a whole lot of experience at the major league level. That playing off of what John Lester has been, which has been outstanding this year. So I expect him to do his thing as well. Neutralize the Bruce, neutralize the Votto, who's off to a slow start and struggling right now. I think there's a real good chance to see something similar like this happen again tomorrow night. May not be a no-hitter, maybe it is, but I certainly don't want to take away any opportunity to go out there and do it. But, I mean, the momentum that you have coming out of this game is something that a team wants to really hold on to and take it into the next day.
When the pitcher takes the mound tomorrow night and you're coming off of what you came off of today, what's your mindset? Just focus, relax.
Well, John is. I mean, because that's what comes with the territory. John's got to be focused to get Cincinnati Reds hitters out. But for the offense, there should be an excitement and a passion the minute you walk into the clubhouse. There should have been a lot of excitement when you leave. Everybody contributed into tonight's win. We talked about the homers, the RBIs, everybody swinging the bat so well, really for the first time in about a week. You want to make sure that you bring that back tomorrow night. So, again, you get back in there. It's not going to be a quiet clubhouse at 2 o'clock. It should have some life to it. It should be excited to get back out there. When you're rolling offensively as a team, you want to keep playing. You don't want downtime. You want to get out on the field and start winning baseball games.
All right, that is going to put a ribbon on our extended post-game coverage tonight. Jake Arrieta, his second career no-hitter. Cubs win big, 16-0. Thank you so much for spending a really good portion of your evening with us. Game broadcast, post-game show for Todd Hollingsworth. One more, baby. Our great crew here, our producer John, Graff, everybody in the control room. Thank you so much for watching Cubs Post-Game Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And Steve Gardner, our great floor director. Here's how it sounded one more time.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. The ground ball, Russell. The flip, Zobrist the turn. Here we go. Double play. No hitting the Reds through 6.
Yes, he did.
I think he did. He did. Call made at first. Greg Gibson rings him up. Arrieta through 7 has not allowed a hit. Swing and a miss. 3 outs away. And he might have some Reds fans in the ballpark on his side at this point. Here comes the 2-2. In the air, this should do it. Jason Hayward makes a catch. It's a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has done it again. Wow.
That was fun.
Make sure he's in bed by 8.
Sometimes I get scared.
Scared of what, Danny?
The things I can't see.
Got a weird feeling.
Almost forgot. In case anything happens.
Dad, I got this.
Hate shopping for a used car because you feel like you might be buying someone else's problem? Well, with a Continental certified car, you don't have to worry. Just look for this. Buy with confidence, knowing that the car has been through an 80-point quality and safety inspection. Comes with a 30-day, 1,000-mile warranty. And get this, a 3-day exchange policy. So check out our huge selection of Continental certified cars only at Continental Motors. 10 brands, 8 locations, thousands of choices. Only at Continental Motors and ContinentalMotors.com.
From the first building block to the last coat of paint, Menards is here to help you build all of your projects with an 11% rebate on everything. Menards has a huge selection of Mastercraft doors in stock. Take one home and install it today. Select sizes of this DuraCore primed interior door are only $62.29 after 11% rebate. Stop in for an 11% rebate on everything now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
We are the Coors Brewing Company, and our mountain is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. A beer proud enough to wear our name in big, red, scripted letters. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold. Because we believe every climb deserves a refreshing finish. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
Honda believes in helping you use your garage to its fullest potential. That's why we're offering great deals on the things you'll want in your garage, like the Honda CR-V. The best-selling SUV in America comes with a standard multi-angle rear-view camera and plenty of cargo space. Great for transporting lots of stuff, say to storage or the dump. Hurry to the Honda Dream Garage sales event. You've got a garage to fill.
Time's running out on all the great deals. Don't miss the event. Now at your Honda dealer.
Cover that up. The pass was intended for Pietrangelo, never got to him. Elliott takes a whistle.
Well, Colton Parayko gets this puck to Patrick Berglund, and then Robbie Fabry with a chance, and a high hard one from Fabry, and I'm sure if that caught Crawford in a mask again, but there's another quality and a chance for the Blues in the second period.
Steen battles to the Hawks line. Could only get that far. A steal by Taves. He drives with a shot. Elliott, a huge save in the final seconds of period 2.
Well, a tremendous stick from Jonathan Taves to get this chance. Takes it away from Bouwmeester and shooting it on his forehand instead of maybe going to his backhand here. He gets the pressure there, but again, look how far out Elliott is out on top of that blue paint, and it's easier said than done when you got pressure coming, but if you can fake that shot and pull it to your backhand, you might get the goaltender to lock on. And I mean, Taves he's had 2 A chances himself here in the last, 3 minutes or so.
Amazing. Virtually every game of the series. Here's Kane centering. They score! That, I think, is going to count. The green light is on. Panarin Panarin shot it to the back of the net as the clock expired. This will go to video review. The Hawks hoping that they're up 2. What a pass from Kane to Panarin. Brothers from a different mother. These kids, from the moment they got together in game 1 of the season, have had the chemistry as if they grew up together.
Yeah, when I saw it, looks like about 0.3 or 4 was on the clock when that puck hits the back bar. But what a pass from Patrick Kane. Weak side, Panarin all alone by himself, goes top shelf. That is a good goal.
Kane, wow. The beautiful sauce over the stick of Pietrangelo and Elliott. And the team's hanging around, but pretty clear, at least by way of our video, that it's going to be 3-1. And the goal has been awarded. They'll have to just put the puck in play to finish the frame. And the Blackhawks, in a stay-alive situation here in Game 5, have put themselves in a position to do just that. A rare 2-goal lead in this series. There have been only 11 minutes out of the first 5 2/3 games where the difference was more than 1. So just as it's been in the last few games of the series, the second period, a wide-open affair. Hossa short-handed, open to scoring on the same power play. Schwartz got it back for the Blues to tie the game. Then Anisimov on a rebound put his team in front. Panarin in the final second. It's 3-1.
This period of Blackhawks hockey was brought to you by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places.
Hi, how can I help you?
Hi, we're on the adventure of a lifetime, and we need something that can keep up.
Well, the RAV4 is tech-savvy, has an NHTSA 5-star overall safety rating, and plenty of cargo space for your gear so you'll be ready for anything. Now, what kind of adventure are we talking about?
You're looking at him.
Aw, double trouble.
Right now, get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2016 RAV4, or lease RAV4 for only $209 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
What a perfect day for baseball at USA Field. He gone!
Yes! Yes! And this ball game is over! Boxing!
Tomorrow, when the Sox and Rangers hit the field, the hot corner gets even hotter as Todd Frazier and Adrian Beltre crack the bat and flash some leather. White Sox, Rangers, tomorrow at 7 on CSN Chicago. Go inside the lives of Chicago's biggest sports stars, only on Inside Look, presented by Cadillac. Your questions answered.
In this business, you want to compete for championships.
Idols revisited.
They've supported this organization for so many years.
And the stories behind the headlines revealed.
It's a special journey, and it's a great story.
Catch a new interview every month with Inside Look on Comcast Sportsnet. Visit csnchicago.com for listings.
Picture this, 7 p.m. Traffic jam, buses running late, takeouts getting cold, and you're missing the Hawks.
It's cleared to center for Taves. You got a breakaway!
But all you have to do is follow @CSN Blackhawks on Twitter and leave the rest up to us.
Check your phone. Tracy Myers already tweeted you Captain Taves' amazing goal.
He scores! 2 goals from Jonathan Taves, and the Hawks up a pair.
Sportsnet Central every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight.
Hello, Layla Rahimi back in our Comcast Sportsnet studios. Welcome to the Corona Sportsnet Central update. Pat Boyle, Steve Conroy, and Jamal Mayers will break down the second period in just a bit. But first, Jake Arrieta threw his second career no-hitter tonight in a win against the Reds. We will re-air the entire Cubs game after Sportsnet Central, which follows Blackhawks postgame live. Sportsnet Central will also have reaction from Arrieta after the game. It is quite a night for Chicago sports. And listen to the team's favorite locker room songs and more tunes from the United Center with the official Pandora station of the Blackhawks. Search Blackhawks on Pandora or visit ChicagoBlackhawks.com to launch today. Stick around. Pat, Steve, and Jamal will chat with Eddie Olczyk, and then we will have second period highlights coming up on Comcast Sportsnet.
All rights to this telecast are reserved, and any rebroadcast, re-recording, retransmission, or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Blackhawks is expressly prohibited. I'm here with Blackhawks legend Dennis Savard.
I know how important it is to have a strong team around you. If you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer like my guy, Howard.
If you need help or know somebody needs legal assistance, I'm here to help. At Ankin Law, every injury is personal.
Back at you, Reg Carling, Patrick Kane. So, Patrick, who's the team to beat in the World Cup?
Every team is tough, Reg. We'll be playing with the best players in the world.
But honestly, there has to be a team you're worried about the most.
Reg, we look at all the games the same.
Those are swell things to say, but you have to be circling a certain date on the calendar.
Reg, they're all important games.
Jeez, Kane. Come on. Answer's Canada. Canada. I really hope you're better at hockey than you are at sound bites.
The World Cup of Hockey comes in September.
40 years ago, they thought it was impossible to brew a great-tasting light beer. So we got to brewing and told them to sip on this. The original light beer. Spelled different because it's brewed different.
The 2016 Kia Soul has more total interior volume than the Honda Fit. How much more? Observe. 10.6 cubic feet, or a whole lot of jelly beans. More. Discover the spacious Soul. Discover the new Kia. Lease the Soul for only $169 a month, or get 0% financing. Visit your local Kia dealer today.
We built this thingy. We built this thingy on tech that's old.
Yeah, Xfinity built this newer thingy that lets me search with my voice.
We're good. Don't fall for DirecTV. Find shows faster with the X1 voice remote, only from Xfinity. Sign up today or get started with this great offer. Call or go online today.
This is Blackhawks Intermission Live, presented by Binny's Beverage Depot.
Marian Hossa with the shorthanded goal. Jaden Schwartz, the equalizer for the Blues, but Artem Anisimov and Artemi Panarin get a couple more for the Blackhawks. It's 3-1 Hawks after 40 minutes in St. Louis. Welcome to Binny's Beverage Depot Intermission Live. Mike's out with Steve Conroy, Jamal Mayers. I am Pat Boyle back in our downtown Chicago studio. Let's go right back to Scott Trade Center and bring in our Eddie Olczyk. Another entertaining second period, which is par for the course in this series. Hawks finally with some sustained 5-on-5 offensive pressure in the back end of that second period. What was the difference, Edzo?
Well, I think you got to look at the guy in goal 200 feet away, PB. I mean, Corey Crawford was, I don't know what words to use, but I mean, he gave his team an opportunity. And when you get goaltending like that, all of a sudden you feel a little bigger, a little taller, a little stronger, a little bit more confidence. The different line combinations for sure, PB, that Joel Quenneville has put together here. He's riding the big horses. And you know me, I like those thoroughbreds. So look, if you're going to go big or go home, you're going to ride your big guys, and the big guys have cashed in. Huge goal there by Hossa, and then you have Panarin and Anisimov. Lots of positives, but I think the different line combinations for sure at 5-on-5 is generating, giving this team a little bit of confidence.
Hey, Edzo, I want to pick up on one of the players you just mentioned, Artemi Panarin, and I guess he didn't want all the headlines back in St. Petersburg to be about Tarasenko. Unbelievable second period, the cutbacks, his skate work, his shot. Just talk about his game tonight.
Yeah, we've seen him gaining some more confidence as the series goes on, Stevie. And, you know, game one, I don't think he realized what type of hockey became all of a sudden what hockey is in the playoffs in the National Hockey League. But, you know, he's got a little bit